I want to put a number under arrest. Here it is, the sine of 1 degree. Open any calculator, type it in, and you get something like 0.0174, a tiny, harmless-looking number. You have brushed past it 1,000 times inside physics problems, engineering, the quiet math behind the screen you are staring at right now. Here is the setup. Our suspect swears it is innocent. It swears it is just an ordinary fraction. And instead of arguing with it, we are going to do the strangest thing a clear thinker can do. We are going to believe it. Completely. Sincerely. We take the confession at face value and we follow it, step by step, until it walks straight into a wall. Mathematicians have a name for this move. They call it proof by contradiction. You assume the opposite of what you want. You take that assumption dead seriously, and you push on it until the whole world you built out of it falls apart. If it falls apart, the assumption was a lie from the start. And once you see this trick, you cannot unsee it, because it is hiding inside almost every great proof ever written. So let us take the confession. We assume the sine of 1 degree is a clean fraction. Now watch the first domino. There is a real formula in trigonometry, and it is worth seeing just once. The cosine of double an angle equals 1 minus 2 times the sine of that angle squared. In symbols, cosine of 2 theta equals 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. Do not panic at it. Just look at what it is made of. Multiplying, squaring, subtracting. That is all. And that matters because fractions are a closed family. Multiply 2 fractions, you get a fraction. Subtract them, still a fraction. Square 1, still a fraction. They cannot escape their own bloodline. So if the sine of 1 degree really were a fraction, then the cosine of 2 degrees, built only by squaring and subtracting, is forced to be a fraction too. The suspect just implicated a friend. Now the second formula, and this is the engine of the whole case. There is a rule that builds each cosine out of the 2 before it. The cosine of the next even angle equals twice the cosine of 2 degrees times the current cosine minus the previous one. Again, look at the ingredients. Multiply, multiply, subtract, nothing else. So the chain starts marching. 2 degrees hands you 4. 4 hands you 6. 6 hands you 8. Every single step is only multiplying and subtracting numbers we have already trapped as fractions, which means every new cosine is trapped as a fraction too. The dominoes are falling, and not one of them can break the pattern. Do you feel where this is going? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, marching up the line, each one a prisoner of the family, each one forced to be a fraction because it was built from fractions and nothing else. And here's the detail I love most. The crime happened at 1 degree, but the body is going to turn up somewhere completely different. Keep following the chain. 12, 14, all the way up to 30. The cosine of 30 degrees is a value humans have known for centuries. It is the square root of 3 divided by 2. And here is where the whole story detonates. The square root of 3 is not a fraction. It never was. That has been proven cold, and it has stayed proven for over 2,000 years. So look at what our suspect just did to itself. It confessed to being a fraction. That confession forced the cosine of 30 to be a fraction as well. But the cosine of 30 is, beyond any doubt, not a fraction. That is the wall. That is the contradiction. The alibi did not just crack, it vaporized. There is only one way out of this room. The very first word of the confession was the lie. The sine of 1 degree cannot be a fraction. It is irrational. a number whose digits run on forever and never fall into a repeating pattern, hiding inside an angle so small you could barely draw it. And notice the strangest part. We proved all of that without ever calculating the number. We never needed its value. We never measured anything. We simply believed the opposite and watched it destroy itself. That is the entire power of the move, in one clean strike. Now, was this the first time in history someone made a number confess and then hanged it with its own words? Not even close. Rewind 2,500 years. There was a secret brotherhood, the followers of Pythagoras, and they believed something almost sacred. They believed every number in the universe was a ratio of whole numbers. Everything is a fraction. That was the floor their entire reality stood on. Then one of them looked at the simplest shape you can imagine, a square, one unit on each side, and he asked a dangerous little question. How long is the diagonal? The answer is the square root of 2. So he put that number in the chair and used this exact same move. Assume it is a fraction, follow it. And the assumption forces both the top and the bottom of the fraction to be even, which means you can reduce it and reduce it again and again forever, which is impossible. The confession collapses. Their sacred belief was simply false. The legend says the man who leaked this secret was drowned at sea. Whether that is history or myth, the story is telling you something real. One contradiction, one single wall, can topple an entire way of seeing the world. Centuries later, the Greek mathematician Euclid picked up the same weapon and aimed it at a bigger target. Are there infinitely many prime numbers, or do they eventually run out? He assumed they run out. He assumed there is a biggest prime, a final one at the end of the list. Then he quietly built a brand new number out of all of them, multiply them all together, and add 1. And that number cannot be divided evenly by any prime on the list. So there must be a prime hiding outside the list. Contradiction. The primes never end. Same move every time. Assume the opposite and watch it fall. And here is a human detail that gives me chills. About 600 years ago, an astronomer named Al-Kashi, working in the city of Samarkand, sat down and calculated the sine of 1 degree by hand, to a precision the world would not need again for centuries. He was chasing a number we now know can never be fully caught. He could feel it slipping past every decimal place, and he kept going anyway. And that is the quiet gift hiding inside all of this, and it is not just for math. The next time you are stuck, a bug you cannot find, a decision you cannot make, an argument you feel yourself losing, try flipping it. Assume the thing you doubt is actually true, and follow it honestly, all the way to the end. If it leads you somewhere impossible, you have just learned something you could never have proven head on. That is the detective's move. And now you can see it too.